building a landing page in GoHighLevel when you're new can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can build your first landing page for a real client, and I'm going to give you design tips and some special things that I've learned from doing many landing pages like this for my clients. Okay, so now here we are in the GoHighLevel funnel builder. The far and away advantage of GoHighLevel is that you get everything all in one place, including the forms and the integrations. So this is an example of a landing page that I found on Webflow, and we're going to do our best to imitate this exact template here. And as you can see, if I come here, it's really nice. It's got some animations here. Looks really clean. Love this aesthetic here. Everything is nice. They've got some services. All of this is really fancy and great, and we can build this in GoHighLevel. So we're gonna go ahead and do our best to replicate that now. And I'll actually be giving away this exact landing page template for free. So if you want to just skip the build process completely, you can click the link in my description and you'll get this landing page template for free. So if we come back here into our GoHighLevel funnel builder, I have this example. We're going to be building a landing page for the drop barbershop, okay? Now, obviously, this will apply to any other client that you are servicing. There are lots of templates, as you can see. If we go from templates here in GoHighLevel, they do provide many different templates in different categories. I do use these sometimes, but I'm not going to lie, many of these templates are a little bit corny, a little bit overused by other agency owners, so I do recommend standing out by doing something a little bit different. There is also this option with the funnel AI, which is in beta right now, and you can see that you can select a industry and you'll go through, and if you just give it an example, you can basically walk through these prompts, and it's very simple, and then it will generate a full landing page for you. So I actually did that because I was curious to see what would happen if I did it for this drop barbershop, just so you can get an idea of what that looks like. This is what it spit out for the AI version, which is not bad given the very little prompting I had to do. We could actually work with this as a base, and obviously this text here needs to be black. Just to give you an idea, if you wanted to try the AI website builder, it's even got some testimonials, which you could just swap this out. FAQ section, again, just add in some of your logo and basic information, but it's actually a pretty good starting point if you were going to use a AI builder. But let's go back, and I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do this from scratch. Okay, so here we are, and the first thing we're going to do is add a new step. There is an option to import from ClickFunnels. We're not going to do that right now. All right, so we've got our step one here, and you can see we can use an existing funnel, but we are going to just start from blank. First thing you're going to see is these different sections that you can choose: full width, wide, medium, small. Don't get too overwhelmed with this at the beginning. So I'm going to start with full width, and if we go back to our model, this is kind of what it looked like. They start with this logo up top and a phone number, and then this kind of header of buttons here. So the very first thing we're going to do is add a logo and then a phone number. We now want to add a row. The organization of the funnel builder is such that you have sections, and then you have rows, and then you have elements. We're going to do a single column here, and then we're going to add that element. And in this case, we're going to do image, so that we can add that logo. What we want to do is come into here to the image, select this, and you can see this is where we would upload our image if we had one already. But another fun thing is the AI image creator. I wouldn't recommend doing this for your logo, but we are just having fun with this. So we're going to generate this, see if it can give me a logo for the barbershop that's actually good. Would you look at that? It's actually not too bad. All right, so these are the logos it came up with. Obviously there is a typo right here, and I would not recommend doing this for your actual logo. But we are just playing with this a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and add this as our logo. Now you can see we just click on Content AI. Here it is. Insert the media. Boom. Obviously that is huge, so we are going to change that. Okay, now you can see that this logo is pretty small, so we're going to go ahead and just keep this relatively small at about 100 pixels on height. That looks pretty good. Pro tip, you don't want to change both height and width, because if this one is now like 50 or something, then it gets really distorted. So you want to just leave one of them on auto. So you can just come back here, click auto, then you're good. Now you'll also notice that there's a lot of this space up here at the top, and we want to have this sit a little bit more flush to the top. So what you can do is come into elements, come down here, get rid of that padding. You can also do that on the column, and right here, there's a lot of elements here where you can kind of move this closer to the top, and that looks pretty good. We still want to have a little bit of padding like that, so we're going to leave it just about like this. Maybe turn that down to 10. Cool. All right, next thing is this phone number with a little link on it. That's pretty easy too. You just hover on here and you click the orange button right here, add plus. Now we're just going to do a simple sub headline here where we can do phone. We've got our phone number, but now if we want to make it clickable, what we want to do is highlight this and add a link here. And you might be asking, what is the link that you add? Well, if we come over here and we just hover, if you look over on the bottom of this screen, you'll see that it says tell : and then it has the phone number. So that is actually the hyperlink that we'll do. We'll do tell : and then we'll just write in the phone number, which is a sample for now, but that is how you would do that. And as you can see, now we have a link. And this is important because especially when people are on mobile, they can just click that and it'll allow them to call immediately right there from their phone. So that looks pretty good, although it needs a little bit more spacing. So we're going to come back to this element and add in some of that space and just a little bit more space on this padding as well. So now that looks good. That looks a little bit more spaced out like this. We could make this a little bit smaller too. That looks pretty good. So now we want to build out this little navigation bar right here. When you click it, it actually just scrolls to an element, which I think is really nice. So what we want to do to recreate that here is we can create a navigation bar. That is probably the easiest way to create something that looks similar. And then you can add those buttons on the navigation bar to allow you to scroll like that. That's a little bit more complex, so I think maybe one way we'll do this is actually by adding individual buttons for each one. So the way we want to do that is actually to add a new section that has multiple columns. And so the thing is right here we only have a single column, right? But over here we had about like 4 columns of items. So what you'd want to do next is to add another set of columns, and to do that we're looking for the blue, but sometimes that gets lost and you can't hover over it. It's just the green right here. So if you come over to add elements and you just select rows, then it'll allow you to do like a 4-column row. If we come right here and we add and do 4 columns, there we go. Now what we can do is add a button in each of these columns, and that will function as our services, team, appointments, and contact buttons here. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll just do button, and obviously that looks pretty bad at first. So maybe what we're going to want to do is turn this into something that's transparent, so we can get the transparent background. Brand colors is something that's really helpful with the GoHighLevel landing page builder. You can go through these custom colors, right? But it's nice to have your brand right here. While we're at it, we want this white text like this, and we want to add a picture that's kind of like this in the background. That looks really clean. So maybe what we can do is go ahead and find a picture for our background of this whole green section. And to do that, you just want to click somewhere in this green section so that that's selected, and you can see background color, we have nothing. But if you come in here, you can see background media. You can select this and choose a new background image. Let's try our AI again, why not? All right, let's see if we can get a good image. I think I like this one. This one is nice. It looks pretty similar to this sort of feel. So we're going to go with this, and that should be in our content now. We can click on that, insert the media, and boom, now we got this on our background. Pretty slick. So you can see when we go over here, there's a few different image options. Maybe we'll start with this. The button actions you'll see are very extensive. You can do a lot of different things, but we want to be able to scroll to an element. So we're going to select that one. And there's no element selected because we don't have anything else, but we'll add those in as we build the website here. Now you can see on this one, when we hover, it kind of underlines it, which indicates that we've got a link, right? So here we could do something similar. I actually kind of like this elevate animation here. So when you hover on it, it just kind of moves a little bit, add some interaction. I like that. So let's go ahead and leave that. So let's change that color to white. Let's go ahead over here and change the link text color to be white as well. And we just want this all to be white. Yeah, good. So we got services, that's great. So let's go ahead, pro tip, you can just copy this and move it over instead of making it a bunch of times. It's easier this way. Team, appointments, contact. And because the person I'm making this for is a solo team, I'm just gonna put about. Okay, good. So now we've got our 4 buttons here. You can see it kind of changes with the size. That's great. So you can see they've also got socials up here, which is nice. I don't want to add those up here at the top though. I do want to add those at the bottom of the page. So I will show you how to add socials at the end. So next thing, he's got this hero headline right here, barber shop. Again, this is just a template. This is where we'd want to say the name of our shop, and we still want this nice background, so we're not going to add a new section, we're just going to add new columns. So we're going to come in here, click our little plus button, click the row, we're going to add a single column right here because we want to add our big hero headline. We want white for shop. That looks nice. And we're going to make that much larger because it is our main headline. Now here's another pro tip. At this point you might be thinking, I don't know if I like this font, I don't know if I like that font, I might want to change things. Now you can change each individual font on each element, but that gets pretty annoying. So the easier way to do things is up here in typography. You can select the baseline headline font that will be used for anything that is using headlines, and the baseline content font for all the normal content. We might want to change this to something else. Let's just do Arial, okay? Let's just say we want to do Arial. So now what that does is that establishes the headline font. So if we click on our actual headline and we come over here to the side, typography type, we can select headline font and it's just going to auto update to whatever this is. So that's really nice. Or you could change it to the content font if you wanted. You can see it changes it there. Or you can just choose an actual custom for that particular element. But let's go back to headline font. And you can see the same thing is true for these buttons. It's using headline font as well. Okay, I like this little established 2011 thing. So we're going to come down here and add a sub headline. We want that to be white, established 2025. And then there's this button for online appointments. That's kind of the main call to action. And we're going to go ahead and add a button. And actually, you know what? Maybe what we could do is just replicate this so we don't have to redo all of that. You can just drag it down here. This time, though, I think we do want to have it look a little bit more like a button like this. Online appointments. Okay, now what you might be wanting to do is add that arrow, and I have a little shortcut with something called Raycast, special tool. Let me know if you have questions about that. I can let you know how to do this, but there's all these different snippets that you can create. So I've done this snippet here, which allows me to do little arrows. So that's kind of nice. And for this one, I actually think I do want a little bit of a border, so it looks more like a button. So we come over to advanced, we click on the border, full border, and we do not want this green. That looks terrible. We want white. That looks good, and we want it to be round. We don't want it to be this rectangle. So let's come into advanced and do border radius 25. So that looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit lower. Padding, as you can see, adds space within the element. Margin is going to add space above the element. Let's talk about how to do this here. And this is nice because we got these two column things. We've got an image. We've got some services, right? This is good. And I also want to reload this page to show you these animations. You see that? How it kind of slides in, how that's nice. And these slide in from the sides. Very nice, looks very clean. I'm going to show you how you can do that too. First thing you'll notice is that we probably want to create a new section now, because this background image, you see how it changes and now we have a different background, it's just black. Well, we're going to go ahead and add a new green section. That's the biggest one we can add here. And we're going to do a full width, and we're going to add that. So now we have a different background, as you can tell. So this one, we're just going to make that background color black. And the first thing you'll see here is we have these two columns of services. So let's go ahead and add a row, and we're going to do two columns. And we can do an image on one side. And on the other side, we will add the text that is basically like this. So what we're going to want to do is probably add two pieces of text. One that is a headline, paragraph, play around with the line spacing if you want it to be a little bit more spread out. You can go up to like 1.5. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice. You can see I've added some copy here, and I'm going to show you how to add an image from your desktop as well. You can just go ahead and do this, and if you were to upload, you can see that this is another AI image here. 400. All right, so here's another pro tip. If you want to if you've already built something that works pretty well, you don't have to redo it every time. I can just click on this blue two-column row, and we can go ahead and duplicate that. So that is nice. And now, if we want to alternate the sides, we just go like this, and we just move everything over. And now we've got the alternating image size. You can click the arrow as well. All right, good. So now you can see we've also added this second section here with grooming materials, new copy, and another image that was generated all from AI. It's really incredible. And our landing page is starting to look pretty good. Okay, and now for this section about our services. We're not going to lay it out exactly like this on our landing page, and that's okay. We're going to do a version of this where we're just going to list some of these items out in a list and list their prices. So we can come over here, and I've listed this over here as our services. I've just copy and pasted this 2-column row again, like we've been doing. Subheadline, paragraph for the text, haircut, actually 6 here. We can just take these two things and let's just duplicate these a few times. Just move these around. I kind of like having some more space, so maybe we can just do like a 40-point margin. Let's make this a little bigger too. Screenshot that I just took, and we're gonna make that a lot smaller now. So let's go ahead and change that size, and that is looking pretty nice. Okay, so now looking at our example website again, we've got the services built out here, and now the last thing that's gonna be important is this appointments thing for them to send an email. I don't exactly love it right here, so what I'm gonna do is actually integrate this to a calendar. But I am going to have a contact form like this where people can just send an email if they want to, and that will be relevant to many of your clients who aren't barbers but maybe who are B2B clients. So let's go ahead and build that part out now. So we're going to keep this within the same section, and let's just go ahead and add a new row. And I don't want it to be 2 columns, I just want it to be 1. So let's go 1-column row. And we're going to add our first thing, which is now going to be a calendar. This is exciting, and we don't have any calendars yet, so this will be a very abbreviated tutorial on how to set up your calendar. If you want to see more of a full tutorial on how to make a calendar, let me know in the comments. But let's briefly just go into Calendar Builder here, and you can see we've got the drop. We're going to create our first calendar. For now, the staff member will be me, and these appointments will be 30 minutes, Monday through Friday. Let's go 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sure, that sounds good. And if we look into advanced settings, this is where we can add a few more custom things. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. We're just going to go ahead and click save on this. And now you can see we do have our calendar activated here. We're going to just save that and go down here and connect our calendar. So you can see we can configure it right here. We're going to select the drop barbershop, and you can just see that it actually just shows up the calendar right here. On a more advanced video, I can get into the customization of the colors of this. You can change all that coloring so that it does match the theme of whatever you're doing. Okay, so now I'm looking back at our example, and we need to build out this team section where we can just build a new element right here. And let's go ahead and do an image. Obviously, this is pretty slick with having the image overlying the text. We're not going to be able to do that exactly on high level, and that's okay. But what we can do is add an image and do a little text right below. So now you can see we've got this brief bio. I actually like having it kind of on the side like this a little bit more. I think it fits a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and add a picture now. Nothing you have not seen before, just the same old story here. That looks good. We can maybe make this a little bit bigger even. Yeah, I think that looks great. So let's go ahead and add in these hours and location. Let's just go ahead and click on the blue, and then we can come in here and duplicate it. So to go ahead and make this part, you can see they've got this nice background in the back, and in order to have a different background, we're going to want to add a new green section, and then we'll do a 2-column row and set up our elements like that. And let's go ahead and duplicate this and just pull it in, because I like how we already have this. And it should let us just pull it down here. As you can see, that's nice, and that's great. We do want this background to be a separate image, so let's go ahead and use another stock image of a barber. Just like before, go into our background media. Let's go here. That looks good. And what we want for this is to match these sort of black boxes that say location and trading hours. So let's change this image. We don't want an image here. Go over here, change this to location. Looking pretty good. So we can make this column like a black box like it was in the example. And we can do that like this. Background color, and just go black like that. I'm just going to add a little bit of margin between our two boxes here. So I'm just going to duplicate it. Again, save yourself the work from having to do things multiple times. And we'll come in here, and now let's just change that to location, change that to white, and voila, we're looking pretty good with this. You do notice how the image, see how it doesn't scroll in the background? That's fine. We can leave it like that. Or if we wanted it to scroll continuously like it does here, you just come into this part, click the green section, and again, instead of full center parallax, we'll do full center or fill 100% width, and then you'll see that it does scroll. Let's do this last section of the form here. So what we're going to do is copy and paste our section, because we're going to make a new section with a different background here. I don't think it should be back to back, so we'll actually no image. We can just delete it and make the background color black. Let's just delete these columns as well. Now what we want to do is add a single row, and what we're just going to do is a form. And again, we don't have any forms here, so let's go ahead and build one, and I'm going to show you some cool tricks how you can get a nice looking form here. As you can see, there are lots of different types of forms building that you can do. There's a lot of templates. Let's go ahead and do one straight from scratch because we want to keep it super simple. And this is already way too complicated. We just want an email address. We don't want any of that. Great. So first of all, on the first name, we don't even want the label. Let's just get rid of that. Same with the email, we don't really want the label. We could add a button, and you can see that the button I've got here is kind of special. It's a special gradient that I created with special CSS, which is not for the faint of heart, but you can actually do a lot with just asking ChatGPT. So if you come into here and click Styles and Options and go to Advanced, that's going to allow you to come down to this custom CSS. And this is what is allowing me to do that, although I want to change this actual color because I don't like how that looks. And as you can see, we literally just ask it to do this, and we can get this copied right here. Boom. And there we go. Okay, I like that. Yeah, that looks super clean. And we can add a little bit of text right below that too. We can go ahead and change that font to be consistent with our website. And we can make it a lot smaller as well. We can actually change the input style if we want it to be just lines or boxes. I like the box. We can change the background to be white just to transparent, which I think we'll actually want it to be transparent with given what we're building, so it just kind of blends in nicely. And we can see that this text is also a white background, so let's get rid of that background and make that also transparent. And I think this is going to end up being on a black background, so let's go ahead and make it white. Our text, that is, and that looks pretty good. Our button, let's just change the actual text to say submit. That looks pretty solid. Let's go ahead and hit save on that, and let's go back into this and let's add our form. And you don't have any forms yet, so we need to refresh our page, and let's go ahead and click form 0, and boom, there it is. Looks pretty clean, I would say. I actually do want to add like just a spot for a message if people have questions. I like that radius a little bit bigger. It wants us to have a label here, so let's go ahead and save that. Go into our label color, put that up to white, and sweet. Any questions for us? Looking good. We could even add one more piece of text up here. Make that white. Same headline font. So great, now our last little step is we got to add this bottom page here. All right, let's go ahead and add our new section, full width, and we're going to go ahead and make this, how many columns? It looks like probably 3 columns here, single column here, and then single column, so a few different elements. Let's do the triple column first, and then we'll add some of those things right below. We'll add an image. Let's add in our logo and make that a lot smaller. Make our background black again. Unfortunately, our logo is going to look kind of bad right now, but we'll fix that. Alright, so that looks a little bit better. Nice. Now let's go ahead and add our triple column. So we'll click on the blue plus, do 3 columns, and it looks like we're going to have a phone, an email, and a location, so that's pretty easy. Let's go ahead and see if we can do this here. Let's go sub-headline. I like that one. That's a good size. We can do our phone here. Alright, and you might be wondering, how can we get a phone icon? Well, you could add an image and put that right above it. There's also a lot of icons built into GoHighLevel's website builder. Right over here, you can just search for something like phone. Okay, lots of options. That looks fine, and we want to just make sure that icon color is white so that that stands out like this. And I think that looks good. And just like before, we can link this to telephone and then add in the telephone number. Pretty good. And now that's going to be an active link, and we want to make sure that link text color is white as well. So that looks pretty solid. So it looks pretty solid, and we want to do the same thing for email and then location. So let's do a very similar thing for email. Let's just duplicate this, and we're just basically going to do the same thing but for email. And for our icon, we're going to go ahead and click this and see if we can find email. Yeah, that looks good, and we've got it as white as well. And we want to make this a link, so we're going to say mail to. That is the link to do mail. You want to do mail to colon, and that's going to now do a link. Awesome. And our last thing we want to copy is the location. So once again, let's just pull this over. It's easier if you have a starting point like this. Let's change our icon out. Go ahead and use this location guy. I like that. I think that looks pretty solid. Looks pretty similar to what we got over here. Yeah. We could make the spacing a little bit bigger on those icons if we want, and a little bit more space on the logo. Yeah, these got these little line dividers, which I'm not sure if we can add those vertically, but that's all right. And then let's go ahead and add a little bit of some fancy stuff right here. So let's go ahead and do one more column, single element, subheadline. You guys get the drill by now. And a little fun fact for you, you can change this to be current year by adding some custom value. So if I go ahead and throw in this specific custom value right now, year, it should auto update that to be the current year, which is great. And let's go down. Our year is there, correct, nice. Our links are active, the submit button, it does work, that looks good. And this is looking pretty clean. So the last thing I want to show you here to really make things look good is how we can add animations to all these things. So if you look at this one, you can see how it slides in over here on all the sides, and that's pretty nice. So what we can do is animate our website so that everything slides in like that as well. So what we can do is click on any element, and if you go into the animations tab, it'll allow you to change the entrance animation, and that's what we're going to want to do. So I think for this one, I'd probably just do a fade in. I think that's a little bit cleaner. And you can go through and do that for all of these. It does take a little bit of time to do that, but I think it is worth it. So then we can come down to here and have these ones slide in from each side. Very nice. Let's do that for this one. And now let's come in here as well, and we'll go ahead and animate all of these. Okay, cool. Now I've added animations to everything. So if we go ahead and save this and preview, we'll be able to show you what that looks like. See, that comes together nicely. Those ones come in from the sides. That's very nice. Looks good. Yeah, these ones just kind of show up. Very nice. Looks very good. And I did mention that I wanted to show you how to add socials, so we could also do that here at the bottom. Social icons. Want to move that up. You can do it like this, although these do look a little boxy and not super on brand, so we can come over here and go ahead and do these dark ones that I think are a little bit cleaner, and that looks pretty good. Delete that, come over here, and we don't want most of these, but when you do want to hook these up to your socials, you just come into here and add in the social media account. Okay, so now the last thing is we need to connect these buttons to different parts of our website. So if we go to services, come down here to the bottom, and we want to scroll to an element, you can see you can literally just hover down until you get to the element that you want. And if you can't seem to find it, you can go ahead and just rename this to like image 1 so that you can actually find it later. So I'm going to come back here to services, scroll down, scroll to element, and now I can more easily find image 1 right here. And now about, there we go, that's where we want to go, right there, perfect. And then appointments, we want to go to the calendar element, so, and then I see calendar right here, I'm going to click that, now it scrolls to the calendar. And then contact, this one we're going to also scroll down to the message one. I'm going to go right here, click that, and now we should be good. So if we save those changes and we hit preview, then we're going to come here and we should be able to click these and it's going to scroll us there. You see that? That's kind of nice. It scrolls us immediately to the element. Very nice. Okay, one last thing I want to show you is about SEO. So you'll see that if we come here to SEO metadata, it's going to show how it's going to preview. So I think this is important to show up depending on what you're offering. But in our case, we're just going to add a title, description. You can even add some keywords. You can also add a social image, links and tags. Let's go ahead and preview this one last time. So you can see this is pretty nice. Our page loads up good. Got those animations, kind of scroll through, see how things sort of fade in real nice. I think that looks clean. And you can imagine delivering this to one of your clients, and this would be a great way to build a nice, solid landing page for them that looks really professional. All these things are functional. If I was to click this, it would ask me to call. Same with the email, it's going to open up my email, which we're not going to do right now. And yes, same with our Instagram and Facebook. We click those, it opens up Facebook and Instagram. That's great. Very last thing I need to show you is this important thing right here. mobile mode. So in mobile mode, it's very important that we optimize this and make sure things are ready. See, as you can tell, this is definitely messed up. This is not how we want it to look on mobile. And since many people are going to be looking on mobile, we want to make sure this looks right. So for example, this thing here, for some reason, the images got all messed up. We want to go ahead and make this background black, and we want to change this size, so we're going to have to do that here. You can see that we're on mobile mode, but if we delete this, it's actually going to delete on both modes, and we don't want that. So what we want to do is actually come in here, and you can see if we come over to advanced side, then we can actually just make it visible only on the desktop, which is great. We don't want any of these buttons visible on mobile, so we're going to do that for all of our weird buttons here. Now this image in the background, we might even want to change that, to be honest. We can come here, our background color is black, and we have this image. We could full center it. We want this 4-column row thing to get out of here, so let's go advanced. We don't want that on there. There we go. And now you can see that this image is obviously messed up. We don't want this 2-row thing, so we're going to go advanced, and we're going to get rid of that visibility. Same with the column. Good. And now this looks a little bit better. Very good. We don't want this image either. Yeah, the services look okay though, and the calendar is good, and the picture here looks good, and it's some good about information, so that's solid. And this actually looks okay, how this is set up, and we can leave that picture in the background. I think that's all right. And this form looks good still, which is great, and this mostly looks good in the bottom here, so yeah, we can leave the rest of that. Very important to optimize the mobile view because so many people are going to be looking on mobile for leads, so definitely want to look at that. And you won't want to get it confused with your 2 views when you're updating things in the future. Let's go ahead and finish that, preview it on the mobile mode. If we go to inspect, and if we click this, then it can toggle between them. So you can see how it looks on mobile, and I think that looks good. We can kind of imagine that we're scrolling through this, right? Flipping through it. And yeah, things look pretty good. All right, folks, there you have it. I hope you learned something about building landing pages on GoHighLevel. As you can see, we've now got this fully functional landing page where people can set appointments and send messages through your integrated form, connect to socials. Hopefully you feel ready to make a landing page for your first client. And if you do want to skip that whole building process, I will be linking this exact template in my description below. You can get it for free there. Let me know if you have any questions.